Then, in our usual fashion, let's just check that you're sitting as comfortably as possible. See if we can ease yourself into something that feels fairly symmetrical and balanced right now. And then we can start to be aware of the connection we currently have between ground and body. So perhaps checking in with the feet first and any parts of the lower legs, upper legs, knees, whether they're on the ground or not. Remembering our blocks or cushions represent the ground. So as you feel the bottom settling onto those, feel for those sit bones, if you can be aware of those bony bits deep within the buttocks. Let them inform you as to whether you're carrying a little bit more weight into one or the other. See if we can ease ourselves into something that feels truly balanced, but also supported from beneath, while you then grow up nice and tall through the spine, creating some lift and length, and this idea that you could invite more space between vertebrae. Finding a place for these ears above shoulders, nice long neck, crown reaching up towards the ceiling, chin parallel with the ground, allowing the eyes to softly close. And from here, let's bring the attention to the physical body as we become our own personal scanners. Feeling into the toes and the feet right now and noticing what's showing up there. Are there any aches and pains, any discomforts, sensations that might be interesting? And then taking that attention up to the lower legs and the knees, the thighs, and the hips. What's going on there right now? Feeling into the low back and the pelvis. Notice whether muscles are engaged and there's tightness or discomfort, or whether everything feels relaxed and comfortable. And again, maybe there's some sensations there that might be interesting. And checking tummy and mid-back, chest and upper back. As you scan around there, what do you notice? Checking in with those shoulders. And into the upper arms and down the length of each arm, right to the fingertips. Checking up into the neck and the throat. Into the jaws, the mouth, and throughout the face. Feeling into the forehead, all the way up to the top of the head. And there, just checking in with those familiar spaces where you often find yourself holding tension, whether that be the classics of shoulders reaching up towards ears, whether it's jaws, mouth, whether it's tummy, hands, all those places where you often find tension for yourself. Could you invite some softness instead? And from there, shift the attention to the breath, to feel it coming, going, noticing its comfort, level of ease, whether it feels shallow or deep, hurried or slow. smooth and easy or restricted and uncomfortable. Accepting breath as it is right now, no need to change. Settling into the rhythm so that we can then allow the rhythm of the breath itself, to ease us into our warm-ups with the next exhalation. Chin moving round over right shoulder, gentle twist. Inhaling, coming back to the middle. Or exhaling round and over the left. And 3 times all together in each direction. It's back at center. Long neck, crown reaching upwards. Waiting for an exhale then to drop right ear towards right shoulder. Inhale to center. Exhaling left ear towards left shoulder. Any of those as usual. Do your 3rd visit to the left. Returning again to center. And there, visualizing your infinity symbol, or your number 8 on its side in front. Nose flowing around that shape. Changing direction next time you find center. When you come to the middle next time, let's allow the chin to drop towards the chest. A little bit of stretch in the back of the neck as you hang there. Just aware of that length, perhaps easing down into the upper back even. And then gently with an in-breath, let's lift that chin up. Allow the nose to point towards the ceiling or to the wall in front of you. Not collapsing back in the neck, but creating a stretch in the front of the throat before exhaling, lowering chin down. And repeating, inhaling to lift and lengthen. After the third one of those that you do, we'll return to center, to that balance with the ears above shoulders. And then shrugging those shoulders up towards the ears. Let's roll the shoulders back, drop them down, draw them forwards. Couple of those before bringing fingertips up on top, elbows together. Lift those elbows up, out, back, round and down. A couple of those. Then as the arms come down by the sides, next time just pause there for a moment. Check into your sitting posture. Are you still fairly comfortable? Just going to move into those more spinal, slightly larger movements. If you need to reposition those legs, please feel free. But if we're ready to go for it, oh, no, there is a little bit of wriggling. And then we're going to float the arms up in the air, reach up high before lowering the right arm down. Let the left arm drift over the left ear if the shoulder's willing, before inhaling, sweep those arms up, reach out at the hips as you lengthen before going over to the other side. Inhaling to flow up, reach up, exhaling, over to the right again. 3 of these all together, each side. Reach up high. And when we go to the left for the third time, going to return up with those arms, reaching up, meeting here before then coming into a twist. So one hand going around the back, the other hand going in the front, bringing yourself into a twist, following the shoulder that moves back with the chin before sweeping your way back up, mirroring that on the other side. Inhaling, reaching up. 2 more of those in each direction. And arms up after that third time to left. Then taking those arms behind, either onto low back or onto the ground, where we can lift the breastbone, lift the gaze, before inhaling, arms up, and exhaling, hands down, rounding, inhaling, flowing up, exhaling, round the back, inhaling, reach up, exhaling forwards, breathing in, reaching up, round the back, inhaling, stretch up, and then when we come forwards next time, Lower the head, relax into this seated cat pose, the tail tucked, the back really rounding. And a couple of breaths here. And then straightening up little by little. And from here, just noticing the back, noticing the shoulders, notice the neck. And then let's come all the way down and onto our backs, onto the ground. And so just to explain to others, we have Barbara in the room, but Barbara can't hear. So I'll join you on the ground so at least she can see what's intended. So as you come onto your back, onto the ground, let's have the knees bent and feet on the ground. So, and with the arms relaxed by the sides. So, so once you're down there on the ground, let's just be aware of that connection with ground, that shift from sitting to lying to feeling the connection, the different connection we have between body and ground. So the soles of the feet, noticing the weight of the feet resting on the ground, noticing the back, the low back in particular. Again, any symmetry, any asymmetry perhaps. Noticing the shoulder blades on the ground, really nestling in with those shoulder blades and the shoulders themselves. Allowing the arms to rest on the ground. Noticing whether the hands, the fingers are softly curled or whether those fingers are rigid, whether the hands are almost on guard, ready to do something. Can you just let go there if there's that tension? Can you feel the back of the neck softening towards the ground? And of course, the weight of the head on the ground. And then from here, again, come to the breath to hopefully feel a bit of lift at the belly as you breathe in. And the settling down as you breathe out. And focusing mainly at the shoulders and the arms for the moment. As you breathe in next, can you allow those arms to float away from the ground and come up? Or breathing out, allow those arms to come back down by the sides. Inhaling, arms float up. It's the breath really that's certainly timing the movement. And perhaps you could even imagine that the breath is creating this sense of lift and cushioning the lowering. As the arms float up to vertical when they come up next time, let's pause there with those arms vertical, but feeling the shoulder blades, the shoulder joints as grounded as you can possibly get them. And there's this balance somehow. These arms can float in this vertical position without real effort while the breath continues. Just aware of this connection with ground. And taking one more big in-breath here. And using the next out breath to see if those arms will be happy to release back towards the ground behind. And as usual, taking those arms as wide apart as you need them for them to come into comfortable contact without upsetting shoulders. And be aware of the weight of the arms on the ground here. And as you feel down into your spine now, notice whether the spine feels like it's lifting away from the ground in any part The waist area, the back of the waist is a classic for wanting to lift when our arms are in this position. Waiting for the next in-breath, we're going to take the arms back up to that vertical position, re-ground the shoulder blades and the shoulder joints back to this balancing of arms in that vertical shape. A couple more breaths here. Again, aware of that connection with ground. And then with the next out breath, releasing the arms out to the T shape. Allow the arms to be heavy on the ground there. And hopefully everyone can achieve a T shape without resistance. So with the arms on the ground, the shoulders on the ground now, could we bring the knees in and over the tummy? So a little bit of core engagement to be able to lift those knees in over the tummy. And once the knees are there, keeping the arms and the shoulders fixed on the ground, could we allow the knees to stay together but rock from side to side? So there's a little bit of movement across the low back. Because we've got the knees in over the tummy, there's that sense of length in the low back. You might find that the bit behind the waist, the bit of the spine behind the waist, might feel a little more grounded over time as you rock and ease. And having done that little bit of rocking side to side, let's now allow the left foot to return to the ground. The right knee is still in over the tummy. Let's take the right hand onto the right knee now and start guiding that right knee in a circular movement using the hand to guide, and see if we can connect this movement with breath. Noticing how the hip is now, it's moving. How the arm is now that it's controlling the movement, but still with a sense of groundedness through the back body where that is that connection with ground. And then let's change direction with this rotation. Then as we bring the knee in over the tummy, let's relax the right arm out to the side and convert the movement of this leg now into a more cycling movement. Still some connection with the breath if we can manage. Noticing how smooth this movement can be and that lining up of those joints as we often encourage. And then changing direction with this cycling movement. And then next time this leg comes to vertical, let's keep it there. And gazing at your toes, your feet, let's rotate the foot from the ankle whilst keeping the leg itself still. And perhaps as you rotate this foot from the ankle, maybe you get a sense of warmth in that ankle joint. And changing direction.
And then allow this to come to a still point and rest your right outer ankle on top of your left thigh. And once that's in place, let's do that gentle rock again across the back of the pelvis, but this time your left foot acting like a bit of a fulcrum. And allow this rocking movement to be what you need it to be. So keep it small if that's right for you. Maybe things loosen up. But if you know it works for you to make a much bigger movement, you go for it. And then next time you rock back to center, be aware of that low back on the ground again. The left foot still, the right ankle still in place. Maybe then you could lift your left foot away from the ground. Maybe you don't need your hands to give you an extra pull. Maybe you do. Maybe you can allow the left leg to extend up in the air. So it's like the sole of the foot is pushing against your ceiling, and we're actively reaching the heel away from the ground towards the ceiling. So whilst you have the sense of groundedness through the back of the left hip, there's also the stretch, the length, the leg engagement. And then we'll bend that left knee, foot to the ground, untangle the legs, 2 feet on ground. And then let's bring the left knee in and over the tummy. Let's take the left hand on left leg, sorry, and then rotating there through the left hip. And again, noticing how your left hip is with the movement. Moving accordingly. And then let's change direction. So when that knee comes in over the tummy, now let's relax the left arm. Let's switch to a cycling movement now with the left leg. Lining up those joints. And changing direction. How smooth does this leg move in comparison with the right leg? And then when that leg next comes to vertical, let's pause it there to stillness. And then rotating that left foot from the ankle. The leg itself still. Again, noticing whether there's a build-up of warmth at the ankle as you're rotating. and changing direction. Is that leg staying still? And as we come to a stop there, let's bring the outer left ankle on top of the right thigh. And see if we can do our rocking across the low back, side to side. Again, going just as far as feels good. Then next time we rock back, so the sole of the right foot's on the ground again. Come to stillness, still with these arms nice and grounded, back body grounded throughout the torso. And then let's see if we can bring the right foot away from the ground. A little bit of extra stretch to be felt there. And then extend that right leg up in the air if we've got this. Can we do this hands-free, or do you need the support of your hands to hold the leg in place? Keep breathing, keep reaching up with that right foot just for a moment or two. This idea that we're grounding down through the back of the right hip whilst reaching up through the sole of the right foot. And then when it's time for you to come down, bending that right knee, foot to the ground, untangle the legs before again sweeping the two knees in over the tummy, one hand on top of each knee now, and guiding the knees in opposite circular directions, and hopefully feeling fairly symmetrical movements through the two hips. And a change of direction. So whilst we're here, next time the knees come together, could be extend both legs up in the air. Have your hands at the ready now to the outside of each leg, wherever the hands happen to reach on the outside of the legs. So going cautiously with this, as if the out breath is going to cushion this movement and perhaps limit this movement. As you breathe out, allow the legs to move in opposite directions, wide. So we come into a wide-legged position until you feel a sense of stretch in inner thighs. Inhaling, let's bring the legs back up to vertical together. Exhaling, releasing the legs wide. You can use your hands to support or not. Inhaling to come together. Exhaling to come wide. Inhaling together. Let's see if we can do two more of these. Exhaling, going wide. Inhaling together. And when we come wide next time, if it seems like you could hold this for a bit, let's do it. And just to say, I'm able to get my elbows on the floor and my fingers can continue supporting the legs there. But you might find that you don't need that support of the hands if that stretch that's there for you is comfortable enough. But now we've got gravity drawing the legs wider, that stretch may increase over time and may become uncomfortable. So please don't let it get to the point where it feels a little bit scary and really something you might regret. Maybe we've got another couple couple of breaths as we hold this. And when you need to come away, or after that next breath, we bring the soles of the feet together, keeping the knees wide. Can you do that? Bring the soles of the feet together. The knees will close a little bit. Could you then take your hands up between your knees to reach your feet? At that point, you might be able to come into happy baby pose with the hands underneath the soles of the feet. And you might be comfortable to take a rock side to side in happy baby and feel into what you might be able to do with the legs to explore a bit of free movements with the hips, also the shoulders if they're feeling challenged. When you are ready to come out of happy baby, we let go of those feet, bring the feet to the ground, arms by the sides. Pause for a moment here. Feel into those hips. And then begin the pushing of the feet into the ground as if you're planting, as if you're sending roots down, as if you're powering up those legs. And then we'll float ourselves up into a bridge pose, cautiously feeling your first bridge, testing in before lowering back down vertebra by vertebra. And repeating. Maybe each time you come into a bridge, you come up a little higher. And then next time you come up into your bridge, could you hold it there? And maybe you could take your hands underneath your bridge, interlace your fingers, and feel a bit of extra strength to your bridge construction and perhaps some extra lift of the hips. Groundedness through those feet, grounding through the shoulders and the back of the head. Hips lifting, length through the front body from shoulders all the way to the knees and knees to shoulders. Breath coming and going. That space that we're introducing in those hips. And then when you need to come down, there is no hurry. Let's lower, remembering to release the hands before you start that journey down. And once you're down, extend those legs out long. And perhaps at this point, with legs extended, we could take the arms back towards the ground behind. If you're able to interlace your fingers at this point, let's do that so we can reach the hands back. Reach the heels in the opposite direction, stretch long, bring some space at the waist, keep reaching, keep reaching. And then releasing those arms out to the side. If you've got the space to, round and down, scoot the knees in over the tummy, curl up into a little ball. And from there, have another little rock side to side. And from there, let's roll over onto one side. So once we do get onto one side,
If your shoulder that's closest to the ground is happy for you to, let's bring the elbow underneath the shoulder. Take this off. So elbow on the ground. With regard to the lower leg now, the one that's on the ground, could you slide that leg out long? And could you bring the sole of the top foot onto the ground in front? So my foot isn't on the mat. Hopefully yours is, so that you don't feel like you're slipping. Have your top hand on the mat just in front of you. And then let's switch on those core muscles if they're not already. So let's draw up, draw in, nice and strong in your core. Using your left hand as a bit of a lever, and sorry, your top hand as a lever, your top foot as a bit of a lever. Let's lift the lower hip away from the ground. And then lower down again. So just check in with that bottom shoulder. If it feels it's not the right thing to do with the bottom shoulder, please change something up or stop this. If the shoulder's happy to give this another go, let's repeat that, lifting that hip. And sometimes all it takes is the first one or two of these to work out what you need to do. Come down again, take that rest. When we go up this time, feel free to do the same thing, but you might allow the top arm to unfold up in the air. So pushing back up, get the posture, then allow that top arm to reach up. Feel strong through the bits of body in contact with the ground. Breathing in to reach up. When you need to come down, gently lower. And as you do, untangle bits of body so we can swivel to the other side and do the same thing. So we start with the knees bent, get the elbow beneath the shoulder. Slide the lower leg out straight and long. Bring the top foot onto the floor in front. The top hand planted in front. And then going for a lift, lifting that lower hip. And come down. Let the first lift inform you. Is it safe to continue if you've got a grumpy shoulder? Maybe we go for a second. And to lower. Maybe we go for a third. And on that third, perhaps we can hold it. And perhaps we can allow the top arm to unfold. And now we're grounded through bits of body that are touching the ground, but reaching through that top hand. Perhaps you look up at the top hand, maybe you prefer to look forward. Again, when you need to come down, you lower. And from all the way down, then we're going to come to our fronts. So lying on your front now. And make a pillow with those arms. Rest your head on your pillow. And once head's in place, let's think about the legs, having the feet as comfortable apart as you need them. And being aware of the front of the body, grounded and settled. So notice the lower legs and the feet. Are the tops of the ankles on the ground, or does that not work in your body? And lots of people are in that category. So it's just a case of noticing rather than trying to change something that doesn't work in your body. Notice too whether any parts of the shins are on the ground. And again, some may find that happens, some may not. Feel the thighs on the ground and notice any difference in the way one thigh and the other make connection with the ground. For example, maybe you have one thigh where the quads there feel rather more developed than the other. Feel the fronts of the pelvis on the ground, noticing whether you're kind of rolling more to one side than the other. And then from here, let's allow those arms to come into that picture frame we often create whilst we bring the forehead to the ground. Having some length in the back of the neck. Then bring your attention to the breath, the way the inhale invites that sense of expansion through the rib cage. The exhale, that retraction. And then linking with the breath so that as we inhale next, filling those lungs, fill the ribs, let's float the arms and the head up. Exhaling, we come all the way down. Inhaling, floating up. Exhaling, coming down. And if this is working well for you, let's make this movement a little bigger so that when you float up on the inhale, we take the arms back towards the legs. On the exhale, rebend those arms and gently lower the head and arms. Inhaling, rising up, hands sweeping back. Exhaling all the way back and to the ground. Noticing not only the amount of lift and strength you have in your back, but also the mobility in the shoulders. How comfortable are the shoulders and what range of movement can you achieve on that sweep back? Making the next lift the last one if you haven't already moved towards rest. Remake your pillow with your arms and rest your head on your pillow. And take a moment to notice the effect of those lifts. As soon as we're shifting our body away from ground in a manner like that, really getting into the realms of strength work, carrying your body weight, resisting gravity. So from here, when you're ready to, oh bless Barbara, she's still at it. So let's bring the hands underneath the shoulders. And forehead to the ground. Going to gently move ourselves into a cobra, but please keep this at a level that works best for you. We could come up into that through that phased approach. I can see some people really eager for their cobras and already there. You stay there if you're enjoying it. But if you bring your forehead to the ground, the legs planted, feel that connection with between legs and ground, pelvis and ground, tummy and ground. Waiting for an in-breath, let's lift the hands off the ground, but keep those elbows tucked in against your ribs. Next time you breathe in, let's lift the head to join the hands off the ground. Neck is nice and long. Next time you're ready to breathe in, hands return to the ground. Take a bit of weight. See where the upper body wants to rise. And the exhale, reach that breastbone forward as you lengthen and slowly lower.
Taking another one of those, inhaling, hands up. Wait for the next inhale to lift the head. Check those elbows are tucked in so that next inhale you can move on up into your cobra pose. Coming all the way down, reaching breastbone forward as you gently lower. And one more time. Hands lift on the in-breath, elbows tucked. Head lifts on the in-breath. Next in-breath, hands down, floating on up. And this time, pausing here if you can in your cobra. Breastbone reaches forward, shoulders are well away from those ears. Hands huge, fingers well spread. A touch of softness at those elbows. Notice whether your pelvis is still grounded. When you need to come out of this and moving back to child's pose, so core on, easing that tail back into child's pose with extended arms if possible. So now the forehead's on the ground, elbows softening towards the ground, armpits softening towards the ground. Into your child's pose. A few breaths here. And when we're ready to move next, let's push up to that 4-4 square shape into your tabletop and step the right foot forward. So one hand either side of that front foot as you take a rock forwards, bringing the left hip forward, breastbone forward, gaze is forward, and then rocking back as you take the bottom towards the back edge of your mat, allowing a little bit of stretch in the back of that right leg before coming forwards again. Couple more of these. And then next time you rock forwards, let's take the right hand so it's on the inside of the right foot. So 2 hands side by side. Now allow that back leg to slide back a little if it's willing. You just come sideways on here. So back leg sliding back to perhaps deepen the sensation of stretch in the front of that left hip. If you bend your elbows at this point, you might deepen into a little bit of a groin stretch on the right side as you lower your chest towards the ground. As you straighten the elbows, you come away from some of that stretch, bending the elbows to deepen and stretching, deepen and stretching. One more time as you deepen. Hold it there for a breath or two. And then as we come out of this, we're going back into child's pose. So step that right knee back, drop back into child's pose, arms wherever you need them there. And take a few breaths, noticing right groin, left front of hip. And of course, we'll move on to the other side. So when you're ready to, let's return to all 4 square. And step that left foot forward. And then to begin with, we do the rocking backwards and forwards. So move into a little bit of stretch for front of right hip. And then back of left leg. And then when we come forwards next time, let's take the left hand inside the left foot and hanging around here. Maybe slide that right leg back a little longer so that you feel perhaps the front of the hips comes a little closer to the ground then. And then as you bend the elbows, if that works for you, maybe moving into that double stretch. So not only the front of the right hip and thigh, but also into the left groin. Of course, we're getting a fair old bit of work into the arms as we do this. Next time you lower, maybe pause for a breath or so, knowing that when it's time to come out, I'm going to return to child's pose again. Back into a child's pose when you do get there, arms wherever you need them. And make it a child's pose that you like. So if it suits you to take the knees wider apart, then do that. And with your breath, breath awareness, breath ease. So as we come away from child's pose now, returning to your all-four square and taking this gently if you're in the grumpy knee club. So we're going to take the right foot forward again and hands one either side of that right foot. Then we're going to tuck the left toes under so we can lift the left knee away from the ground. So we're, by pushing the left heel back towards the wall behind, we kind of put a bit of anchoring going on there. We need our core engaged now, so draw up pelvic floor, draw in tummy muscles. Feel your right knee stacked above your right ankle. And then we're going to push up. Now you could bring your hands onto your right thigh as the halfway point and then go on up. If you feel you can swing the arms forward and push up into warrior one, let's do that. Arms up into warrior one. Yay. Keep that core strength on so that we can then take the arms back, down, fingertips to the ground, hands to the ground, and step ourselves into downward facing dog. Yes. And from downward facing dog, let's walk that dog, mobilize those legs. And then we'll return to the two knees into our tabletop position. And we'll go for the other side. So stepping the left foot forward now. Getting left knee above left ankle. Tucking the right toes under. Let's lift the right knee off the ground. And getting that core engaged. We're going to push through the floor, either bringing hands onto the thigh first or pushing so that the arms can come up into the air, into your warrior one. And sweep those arms down to the sides, bring the hands to the ground, and step back to downward facing dog. And mobilizing your dog if that works for you, or choose a static dog. What works best for you? And from your downward facing dog then, let's walk those feet towards the hands into your forward fold. And then just when you're ready to, making your way up, rising up tall to standing. And then once we're up, have those feet a comfortable distance apart. Let's put a bit of a swing into the body here, a bit of a flowing movement. And then allow all that swinging to stop as we return to 2 feet planted. So we did a little thing with a forward fold, I think it was this time last week, where we crossed one foot over the other. And when we do that, we kind of confuse nervous system, unless it's used to doing this very often. Sometimes you'll get a bit of a wobble and a struggle, nervous system trying to work out what's going on here. So give it a little bit of time to settle. Doesn't matter which foot goes over which, we'll be doing both, of course. And then we brought this into a soft forward fold. So please don't expect that you will necessarily be able to take the hands as far down as you would in a standard forward fold. Let's just take it gradually. Allow those hands to slide down the legs. Allow the knees to bend a little if they will and want to. And then we'll come straight back up. When you reach your end point, sliding the hands all the way back up, let's unfold the arms up in the air, because even this challenges a sense of balance when the legs are like this. And then going all the way back down again, slide those hands down. Maybe it feels a little steadier when you get down there this time. Pushing the ground away as you slide the arms up. Raise those arms again. And then one more time with the legs twisted this way, down into the forward fold. Pausing here this time. If the hands come to the floor, maybe the fingertips only on the ground. If it's not feeling good in your body, what's going on? What do you need to do? Do you need to come out of it? Do you need to work with the breath? What do you know about your body that might inform what you do next? If we're still working, let's take another breath in, breath out before easing your way back up. Again, releasing the arms up, out, round and down. And then let's set ourselves up for the other arrangement. Again, taking that check-in as we soften down, allowing the knees to bend if they need to. How does it feel when we do it this side? Easing your way back up again. Arms up in the air. Going down for the second time.
And coming back up. When we go down for the third time, if it feels like somewhere you'd be interested in staying and feeling and working, make it the right level for you. What's happening here? Are you using the breath? Are you working with this? And of course, when the time's right, easing your way back up. Arms coming up, out, round and down. A roll of the shoulders as you untangle those legs. And taking another bit of a swing. The reason I'm introducing this swinging stuff is we're about to come into a balance that involves a bit of contralateral stuff, so bits of body moving in different directions. So when you're ready to come back to stillness, let's do that and start to send those roots down from your feet deep into the ground, 2 feet to begin with. Core going on. Let's do an introductory balance as we rise up onto the balls of the feet and the toes as we lift the heels, almost like we're switching on our balance sensors, and come back down onto the heels, rising up, holding this lift this time. Whoops, if you can. Breastbone lifted, shoulders away from those ears. And then when we come down to the ground with those heels, now let's shift the weight into the left foot. So this balance is the one where we now allow the right knee to lift. Use the left hand to guide the right knee just across the midline, releasing the right arm out to the right. Maybe that right arm drifts back a little. And just in case you're having a brilliant balance day and feel confident, you might allow the head to turn to look along the right arm. Each time you breathe in, we're growing taller and stronger. Each time you breathe out, you're grounding down through that standing foot. Inhaling, breathing into the spaciousness that's here. Exhaling, grounding down through that left foot. If you're still working here, a breath in and a breath out to return to ground. Feeling the body coming back to symmetry. And see if we can recreate that on the other side by planting the right foot now. Send those roots down, left knee lifts, right hand guides the left knee across the midline, and the left arm releases out. Maybe the gaze turns to look along that left arm. Inhaling into the space, exhaling to ground. Remember, every wobble, every adjustment is body's way of learning, developing the skill. Notice the tension that can creep into a balance. Can we replace that with some softness? When you're ready to exit this, use an exhale to return to ground. And I just wanted to offer up this idea of making that into a more flowing balance. And I think it might be a good one to do if you were going to practice this balance. This isn't one for cleaning your teeth at the same time. I don't think that works. But it is possible to kind of, once you know where you're going with it, kind of allow it to be a flowing balance where you work one side and then the other. And then after a time, I find that at some point, the body almost invites you to stay with one of those balances. So not only is it a good way for warming up into the balance, I think it's almost like a body learning where it's going and then feel you can hold it. So let's go with that. So just when you're ready to, opposite hand guiding opposite knee, the other arm flowing open and coming back to ground before switching to opposite hand guiding opposite knee and back to ground. Taking a few of those, good learning for brain, managing opposite body parts moving in opposite directions. And you might already get a sense of body, oh, maybe I could hang around here. And then when you think you've done about the same amount on each side, let's return to front edge of mat. And from here, a sun salute before we move into some breathing and relaxation. So from the front edge of the mat, feeling the feet planted, the groundedness, the strength of those legs. And as we inhale, raising these arms and feeling the opening of the front body, and then into our side stretch up and over. Coming up to the middle, over to the other side. Reaching up high to center, core on as you come into your chair, and hands to prayer before offering up the twist. Back to center, pushing ground away, reaching up, and back into chair. And prayer, and twist. Back to middle, push ground away and reach up. Into forward fold. Right leg stepping back into lunge, left arm taking you for a twist. Left hand coming down, downward facing dog. Zipping up to come to plank. And lowering through chaturanga, sphinx or cobra. Toes under as you return to down dog. Letting the right leg lift, heel over bottom. Stepping forwards for your lunge. And forward folds. Coming all the way to high mountain. Return to prayer. Let's go for that second side. Inhaling, raising arms into side stretch. Coming up to the middle. And another side stretch. Reaching up high and into chair pose. Hands to prayer and to twist. Coming back to center, pushing to ground. Back to high mountain. And to chair. Prayer. And to twist. To the middle and another high mountain. Into forward fold. And left foot stepping back for your lunge. Right elbow taking you to twist. And right hand down, downward facing dog. Zipping up your core for plank. And lowering down, chaturanga. Sphinx cobra. Downward facing dog. Left leg lifting for your three-legged dog. Moving forward for lunge. And forward fold. Gently making your way all the way back up. Returning to prayer. And as you release from there, making your way to ground or your place for relaxation. So use your extra layers, use your props, anything you need. So I know Barbara's not going to hear any of this, but she'll hopefully pick it up in the recording. Because we're going to be, and I've lost track, Kim, whether you've done the coherent breathing, 6 in, 6 out. I'm going to be, you have done it, yeah. I'll go through the reminders anyway fairly quickly, but we're going to go through our coherent breath into relaxation. So let's find a comfortable position first. That's the most important part. And a posture where you can access the awareness of the breath, hopefully being felt to be moving nice and deeply into the chest. So, having chosen your posture, let's let go of this body into the support of the ground. As you settle there, just be aware of the arrangement of bones, the hopeful symmetry that's there in the body, the weight of the head, the relaxing of the neck as the back of the neck releases towards the ground, the spreading of the shoulders, the arms releasing from those shoulders, the whole length of the back settled, the low back, the hips, the legs, the weight of the feet on the ground. A quick check in that the eyes are softened, closed, if that works for you. But we can release any tension that we notice at the jaws, the mouth, the teeth, and the tongue. And from here, bringing the attention to the incoming breath, guiding that breath without force, nice and deeply into the chest. And perhaps we're even aware of a little bit of lift at the tummy as you breathe in, and the lowering on the out breath. And just to say that by guiding the breath nice and deep, we're more likely to have less of an issue with feeling like we're running out of breath at any point, encouraging that naturally deeper breath, not necessarily breathing in more air, but targeting the breath towards the bottom of the chest rather than focusing on what's happening at the top. And now let's add our count to the breath, and let's start with a count of 5 as we breathe in, reaching number 5 at the top of that in breath, and on the out breath, reaching number 5 at the bottom of the out breath. Not worrying about the pauses, knowing that they'll be there, they exist, but we're not holding on to them. As soon as you're confident that the 5 in, 5 out counted breath is going well, then we'll take it to 6. And in an ideal world, this would be 6 seconds. We don't worry too much about that, not at this stage. Inhaling 6. Exhaling 6. The important thing being that the breath remains comfortable and we're fitting the count to the breath rather than the other way around. And I'm sure you've heard me say this before, but moving beyond 6 doesn't have any further benefit. So we stick with 6, which roughly equates to 5 breaths per minute. 5 breaths per minute is known as to be optimal for heart health benefit. An optimal length of practice would be 20 minutes. But knowing that chunks of this breathing throughout the day, a few minutes at a time, can have benefits too. As if this practice is cumulative. This practice can also, because it's a balanced breathing count, create a sense of calm and can lead us nicely into relaxation. So just when you're ready to let that count go, allow that to happen almost naturally. And from here on in, each exhalation guides you closer to a relaxed state. body physically relaxed, mind quietening. Each time we breathe out, any places where tension, tightness, discomfort is found, we can allow that to disappear, to soften, or to ease. From this place of relaxation, notice the body, notice the mind as you switch on your sense of hearing, switch on your sense of touch. Allow some wriggly movements through fingers and toes and hands, feet, a roll of the head from side to side. Feeling the support from the ground as you begin to make any other movements that are right for you right now. And you're making your way over onto one side and pushing up to sitting just when you are ready.